We know two of Peppa's grandparents who are Mummy Pig's parents, but we've never seen her grandparents on Daddy Pig's side. However, did you know that we will most likely discover where Peppa's hidden grandparents live? Hidden grandparents. Everyone has parents, and Daddy Pig is no exception. Since the only two grandparents of Peppa that we've seen are Mummy Pig's parents, that means Peppa still hasn't met her other two grandparents, her paternal grandparents. Nobody knows why they still haven't appeared after hundreds of episodes, but many people believe it's because they live somewhere very far away from Peppa Town, which would explain a lot of things. In fact, it's very possible that the hidden grandparents' home is a very specific type of English house called a brick house, which gets its name because it's made out of bricks. But that's not the only reason, since the brick house style focuses on keeping the bricks very visible and giving the house an elegant, slightly old-fashioned vibe. The Pig family's house may be made of bricks, but it doesn't have that style because it looks completely modern and doesn't leave the bricks exposed. Since Peppa's unknown grandparents' house is probably old, it makes perfect sense to think that it follows this style and may even be inspired by the house we're showing you right now. Could this really be the true house of Peppa's hidden grandparents? Get ready to discover everything we know about it. Stay tuned because another Cinewave full of new stuff is starting now. Surprise appearance. Many people have already lost hope of ever seeing Peppa's missing grandparents in the series, but what if we told you there's actually a very good chance they could appear soon? Just think about it. In 2024, Peppa met Aunt Dottie, a sister of Mummy Pig who had never appeared before. Then, in 2025, fans were shocked by the reveal that Peppa would be getting a baby sister, Evie Pig. Every year, the show introduces a new member of the Pig family, so if that continues, we could meet another relative of Peppa in 2026. And since the mystery surrounding Daddy Pig's parents already exists, it makes total sense to think they could be the ones appearing in an episode this year. This appearance would bring a lot of questions to answer. What are they like? What is the real reason they never appeared before? And what does the house they live in look like? Could their home really be a beautiful brick house style home where Daddy Pig also lived when he was a child Peppa's age? Finding all of that out would be incredible, and it would be even more incredible if, in that episode, it were revealed that the house was in terrible condition because it was so old, and then collapsed at the end. Want to know the best part? That could force Peppa's paternal grandparents to move into another house. While their previous home was somewhere very far away, this new one would be in Peppa Town. In other words, Daddy Pig's parents would become permanent members of the show's cast instead of continuing to be occasional appearances. Old house. As a matter of fact, we even have an idea of what Peppa's hidden grandparents' new home could be. The Pig family's old house. You know, the place where Peppa, her parents, and her brother George lived for several seasons before Mummy Pig got pregnant and they moved into a new house. Many people believe their old house was demolished so the new one could be built in its place, which makes sense, but what if they simply abandoned the old house and built the new one somewhere completely different instead? That choice would be great because it would mean the place where Peppa lived through so many adventures still exists, instead of being destroyed and forgotten over time. On top of that, it would also mean that Peppa's paternal grandparents could move there after losing their own home, especially if the Pig family still hasn't sold the house. And that's easy to believe since they moved pretty quickly and may not have found anyone willing to buy the old house yet. Another possibility is that Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig were planning to rent the house out to other people, which would definitely bring in some extra money, but they probably wouldn't have a problem letting Peppa's paternal grandparents live there for free instead. Grandpa Elephant. There are many other grandparents in the Peppa Pig universe whose houses are never shown or seem to hide some kind of mystery that the show tries to pretend doesn't exist. Grandpa Elephant is a great example. He is Dr. Elephant's father, while Edmund is his grandson. And even though Grandpa Elephant has already appeared in the series, his house has never been seen. What makes this even stranger is that Grandma Elephant's home, his wife's house, appeared in the episode Moving Day. In that episode, she lived in an apartment, and we saw her moving into a new home. However, Grandpa Elephant never appeared at any point in the episode, which is really weird. Every other member of the elephant family was there helping. Grandma Cow. Everyone loves Mrs. Cow and Mr. Bull, especially after they got married, but very few people know Grandma Cow. Just like in Grandpa Elephant's case, she has already appeared in the series, but the same cannot be said about her house. And to make things even worse, she didn't even appear at her daughter's wedding in the episode Wedding Day, which is very suspicious. A wedding is considered by many to be the happiest day of someone's life, so how could Grandma Cow not appear at her own daughter's wedding? At this point, it almost seems like Grandma Cow doesn't like her daughter. Could they have had a fight? Maybe because Grandma Cow didn't approve of her daughter marrying Mr. Bull? It feels like there are several relationship problems in Peppa Pig that the show never directly reveals, but that we end up discovering through details like these. Pig grandparents. Peppa's grandparents on her mother's side also fit perfectly into the mysterious house category. Yes, we're talking about Grandpa Pig and Granny Pig, who appear in the show all the time, very different from Peppa's paternal grandparents. Even though both her maternal grandparents and their house appear frequently in the series, there's one question many people ask. Could this place actually be part of Mr. Fox's stealing territory? Anyone familiar with Peppa Pig theories knows there are many signs suggesting that Mr. Fox is actually a thief, and one of those clues appears in the episode Night Animals, where Grandpa Pig is showing his animals to Peppa in the middle of the night, until Mr. Fox suddenly appears out of nowhere. It really looked like he was about to steal Grandpa Pig's chickens before giving up because he got caught being seen. Grandma Rabbit. Maybe you know Grandpa Rabbit, Richard's grandfather and Miss Rabbit's father. He's very nice and intelligent, but something that stands out is that we've never seen his wife, Grandma Rabbit. So where is she, and where does she live? Could her house be somewhere farther away, which is why she never appears? Actually, there's a very good chance the truth is much darker. Maybe Grandma Rabbit has already passed away. That's a little disturbing, but it would explain why Grandpa Rabbit is such a lonely and strange character. Could grief have changed him forever? It's kind of sad to think about. Grandpa Sheep. Grandpa Sheep's case is very similar. Granny Sheep has appeared a few times in the series, and it was even shown that she moved into the house where Susie Sheep and Mummy Sheep live. But here's the important detail. Only Granny Sheep moved in. Her husband, who has never even appeared in the series, did not move with her. So because of that, we might be looking at another widow. And in her case, it could have happened much more recently. We never really questioned why Granny Sheep was moving into her daughter's house. But what if it was actually because Grandpa Sheep passed away not too long ago, and she no longer wanted to live alone? Ever thought about always having new animation content on your feed? Just subscribe and hit the bell. Aunt Dottie. There are many characters who are not grandparents yet, but still live in places we've never had the chance to see, like Aunt Dottie. She is one of Peppa's aunts who lives in another country and rarely visits her family in England. To this day, no episode has ever shown her house. In fact, the name of the country where she lives has never even been directly mentioned, but there's a very good chance she's living in the United States. Could that change someday? Imagine how amazing it would be to see Peppa visiting her aunt's house in another country. The best part is that it would also answer several other questions, since we don't even know whether Dottie has a husband and children, for example. Fox family. The Fox family's house actually appeared in the series, but it created more questions than answers. Mr. Fox and Freddie Fox live in an apartment, and so far that's completely normal. The strange part begins when we realize there's a secret passage inside Mr. Fox's shop that leads directly to his apartment. That's pretty cool, but why exactly did Mr. Fox make that passage? If it were only meant to give him faster access between his home and workplace, there would be no reason to make the passage secret, unless in reality it's actually an escape route Mr. Fox created in case he ever needs to run away from the police. After all, as we mentioned before, there's a very high chance that he's a thief. Panda family. Another very suspicious house is Officer Panda's apartment, but for the opposite reason, because his apartment is located right next to Mr. Fox's apartment. How ironic is it that a police officer lives right beside the biggest thief in town without knowing it? But that's the thing. This coincidence is so huge that it can't just be a coincidence. What if Officer Panda actually moved there specifically because he knows Mr. Fox is a thief and is trying to gather evidence to arrest him? That would actually be a brilliant strategy for carrying out this investigation. If Mr. Fox kept running into Officer Panda in random situations, he would probably suspect he was being investigated and try to flee to another city. However, since they're neighbors, the thief is already used to seeing him around. Take the chance and watch the 2 videos we left on the screen. I'm sure you'll have fun. See you soon.